You will have to, before I start, you have to pass, because this might be the, well, comparatively longest media briefing. It's not too long, but it's not like our usual. So, are we set?
Yeah. Are we set? Yes, sir. Okay.
Good afternoon once again. This is a press briefing by the CP, Lagos State CP Owonwa, on the interim investigation report into the unfortunate death of Ileri Oluwaladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad. Gentlemen of the press, you will recall that the unfortunate death of Ileri Oluwaladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, on 12 September 2023, triggered widely held suspicions of the circumstances of his death and allegations of complicity of some personalities in the process. In consequence, I inaugurated a special investigation team with the main task of undertaking a detailed, professional, fair, transparent, rule of law guided, and evidence-led homicide investigation. The end goal of this initiative is not only to unravel the circumstances of the singer's death, but to deliver justice for Mohbad. I had, while inaugurating the special investigation team, projected a 2-week timeline for the perfection of the police interim investigation report, with the assurance that members of the public will be kept abreast of the investigative progress as much as legally and professionally permissible. I can today confirm that the police interim investigation report is now ready, and this media briefing is being undertaken in fulfillment of our assurance to keep Lagosians, Nigerians, and indeed the international community abreast of the status of the case. This briefing therefore focuses on police investigative actions since the investigation commenced, the interim findings on the strength of facts and of evidential value so far established, and grounds pending further actions in guiding the investigation to conclusion. The investigation process was directed at addressing 2 fundamental questions. Firstly, what are the immediate chain of events that occasioned the death of Mohbad? Secondly, who are the actors that could, within the context of extant criminal law and procedures, be evidentially held criminally liable, either individually or jointly, for the death of Mohbad on 12 September 2023. In addressing the latter components of these questions, due investigative actions were focused on the allegations of possible complicity in the death of Mohbad by Abdulaziz Adesina, aka Naira Marley, and Samson Erinfolami Balogun, aka Sam Larry, who both were widely alleged in the social media of conspiring to serially bully and assault the deceased in his lifetime. It also focuses on allegations on the social media that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency could be complicit in his death, following a viral video in which the late singer raised the narrative of his experience while in custody of the agency prior to his death. The intent of this component of the investigation is to establish if there is any evidential proof to circumstantially or directly link the allegations against Naira Marley, Sam Larry, and NDLEA to the eventual death of Mohbad on 12 September 2023. Police investigative actions. Following the inauguration of the Special Investigation Team, detectives have undertaken the following actions and covered the underlisted investigative grounds. 1. Identification and interview of vital witnesses. As of today, a total of 26 vital witnesses, including the complainant, have so far been identified and interviewed, and statements recorded by detectives from them in the aid of the investigations. These include the following. Mr. Aloba Joseph Oluwabamiwo, the father of the deceased. Mrs. Abosede Aloba, mother of the deceased. Mrs. Kolawole Kemi Bose, deceased sister. Miss Aloba Blessing Oluwashew, deceased sister. Mr. Aloba Adura Bemi Shedrack, deceased brother. Mrs. Cynthia Adebanjo, deceased wife. Ms. Sheyi Awonoga, deceased manager. Ms. Adeyemo Oluwatife, aka Darosha, deceased personal assistant. Mr. Ajishegiri Sultan Ayobami, deceased DJ. Olarewaju Idris Adedoja, deceased personal photographer. Mr. Idris Busari, deceased friend. Aderinto Ademola, aka Ade West, deceased friend. Mr. Adeyemi Olamide, deceased friend. Oladapo Oreoluwa, aka Lifestyle, deceased friend. Adesoya Adebiyi Dolapo, aka Ajay Singh, deceased friend. Fidelix Esabon is the driver to the Prado Jeep that the deceased hired to attend the concert in Ikorodu on 10 September 23, and in an attempt to punch Ibrahim during their physical brawl, Mohbad hit and broke the rear side glass, causing him injury on his right hand. For those of you that would be interested in, you can look at the picture. That's a picture of the vehicle, the damage that led to the injury on Mohbad. Okay, you can circulate. Mr. Soso Soberekon is the show promoter who invited Mohbad to perform at Ikorodu to promote his product, the General Bitters, on the night of 10 September 23, where the fight that led to the injury and subsequent chains of events started from. He has given detailed statements. Mr. Omoni Temidayo Raphael, aka Zlatan, he was one of the musicians that performed at the same event in Ikorodu on that night. Engineer Chinaka Jesse is the deceased neighbor whose vehicle was used to rush him to the hospital when he became unconscious. Dr. Olushola Joshua is the medical director of Kuramed Hospital in Lekki, Lagos, where the deceased was taken to and declared as confirmed as brought in dead on 12th September 2023. Dr. Beke Deborah Oluwatosin is the medical director who was on duty, and he was one that certified the deceased dead on the day he was brought in at about 15-20 hours. Ms. Fajulube Semitope, Ms. Abbas Aminat Abiola, and Mr. Oluwajobi Emmanuel, they are all staff of Kuramed Hospital who also witnessed when he was brought in dead. Dr. Owala Chigozie is the director and CMD of Perez Medical Care in Lekki. When they took him to the first hospital, the Kuramed, and he was certified dead, his family members and friends that took him there were not convinced. So they took the body from there again to Perez Hospital, where he was recertified as dead. Then Dr. Temitope Maxine Olumuyiwa, he is the medical director of Cornerstone Hospital, Akute, Ogun State, where the principal suspect, Feisayo Ogedengbe, claimed to have been trained as an auxiliary nurse. The written testimonies of the witnesses are likely of high evidential value, and they have aided in establishing the sequence of events leading to the death of Mohbad, the identification of the suspects, and the roles each played. They have also aided in gaining a clearer insight into the allegations of assault and bullying leveled against Sam Larry and Naira Marley. Suspects. 5 suspects have so far been identified, arrested, and detained and interrogated on their alleged roles in the sequence of events that led to the death of the singer. The summary is as follows. Ms. Feisayo Ogedengbe is the auxiliary nurse who was contacted and invited by Yobani Sadiq, aka Spending, a friend of Mohbad, on 11 September 2023 to treat the singer at the deceased residence in Lekki. She eventually came on Tuesday, 12 September 2023 and administered 3 different injections, which are believed to have occasioned the chain of reactions that directly resulted in the eventual death of the singer. She is the principal suspect in the death of Mohbad. She acknowledged that it was the injections that she administered on the deceased that triggered the reactions which eventually led to Mohbad's death. Other expert opinions and witnesses' statements corroborated her admittance. Her actions of administering doses of tetanus toxoid, paracetamol, intravenous, and ceftriaxone injection, which was also administered intravenous on Mohbad at his residence, that's Mohbad's residence, on 12 September 2023, immediately triggered the reactions, including vomiting, goosebumps, and convulsion, that eventually resulted in the singer's death. This criminal liability is further heightened, granted the evidential fact that as an auxiliary nurse, she is not qualified to administer such medications or function as a qualified nurse. She also did this in a non-clinical environment and in a professionally negligent manner that negated standard medical protocols. 2. Mr. Ayobami Sadiq, aka Spending. Sadiq is a friend to Mohbad who invited the auxiliary nurse to treat the deceased. He's been suspected of conspiracy in the death of the singer. His action in inviting a person known to him as an auxiliary nurse to attend to the deceased under a non-clinical setting occasioned Mohbad's death. He's being held for conspiracy to commit felony. Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owoduni, aka Prime Boy. He's a childhood friend of Mohbad. He attended the show at Ikorodu in Mohbad's company on 10 September 2023. At the end of the show, Mohbad and Ibrahim were engaged in a violent fight, during which Mohbad was injured. The management of the injury subsequently resulted in his death. So he's being treated as a suspect. Samson Balogun Eletu, aka Sam Larry, is a suspect who was arrested on allegation of being complicit in the death, as well as in relation to the videos that have gone viral about bullying and assault, which in some quarters we believe perhaps had any link with his eventual death. He was arrested, he's still in detention. Abdulaziz Fashola, aka Naira Marley, was also arrested and is still currently in detention for similar allegations. Other actions that have been undertaken by the Special Investigation Team include exhumation, autopsy, and toxicology tests, which were undertaken on 21st September 2023. The results of the autopsy and the toxicology tests are being awaited. Investigation letters were also dispatched officially to National Drug and Law Enforcement Agency with a view to getting their official representations on the allegations raised in one of the videos by the deceased about his experience when he was arrested. We also forwarded investigation letters to Nigeria Medical Association, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, with a view to getting their expert opinion on the conduct and processes of the principal suspect, the auxiliary nurse, in attending to Mohbad. Letters were also dispatched to the CMD, Cornerstone Hospital, Akute, Ogun State, to clarify the role of the hospital in the training of the principal suspects. And from the inquiries, we discovered that she's not just an auxiliary nurse. Currently, she has no job, so she operates from home to attend to anybody. So she's a quack, by our own definition, who is a freelancer. Letters were also dispatched to Nigeria Immigration Service with a view to confirming the travel history of some of the suspects, particularly Naira Marley and Sam Larry. Investigation was extended also to CMD Kuramed Hospital and the CMD Perez Hospital, where the lead singer was taken to as brought in dead. Statements were recorded from them and their staff. Crime scene visits. Detectives have also visited the residence of the deceased at Lekki. The intention was to review the CCTV footage in the house. Unfortunately, the CCTV was out of order. It's not been functional even before this incident. However, the visits led to the recovery of remnants of drugs and injections and other test kits administered by the auxiliary nurse, including 1 tetanus toxoid injection, 3 used syringes, 2 used syringes filled with suspected medicine content, 1 packet of ceftriaxone solution, procaine penicillin injection, empty broken pack of diclofenac injection, paracetamol diluted with water, water for injection, 6 hand gloves, 1 bandage, 1 plaster, and 1 iodine solution. Also separately recovered is the mobile phone of the deceased. All have been registered as exhibits. We also visited, the investigation team also visited Kuramed Hospital, Perez Hospital, Chandelier Nightclub, VI, which represents one of the scenes where the deceased in the viral video was assaulted at the Elegushi Beach also. medical opinion. In addition, as part of investigative efforts that are aimed at obtaining expert opinion in the likely cause of death of Mohbad through a professional review of the actions of auxiliary nurse Feyisayo Ogedengbe, the principal suspect. On 26 September 2023, a team of medical doctors, pharmacists, and nurses drawn from the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, Nigeria Medical Association, and the Nigeria Police Force Medical Services jointly interviewed the auxiliary nurse. A detailed report, which is being utilized as an expert opinion and critical evidence of high prosecutorial value, has been submitted. It specifically identifies some illegal acts and professional negligence in the manner the drugs were administered on the deceased by the principal suspects. The report also confirmed that as an auxiliary nurse, Ms. Feyisayo does not have the competence, knowledge, brief, or certification to diagnose, prescribe, or administer drugs and injections on patients, as she was supposed to work under the directives and supervision of a qualified medical doctor or nurse while on duty. The report also strongly projected that there is a link between the medical negligence of auxiliary nurse Feyisayo Ogedengbe and the death of Mohbad. Sequence of events directly accounting for the death of Mohbad. Based on investigation, this represents the sequence of events that eventually culminated in his death. On 10th September 2023, Ireoluwa Oladimeji Aloba, aka Mohbad, attended a musical concert at Ikorodu Town Hall at about 21:00 hours on the invitation of one Soso Soberekon to promote the General Bitters beverages, which is marketing. Mohbad arrived at the venue of the event at about 19:00 hours in company of his wife, Mrs. Cynthia Omowumi Adebanjo, and their 5-month-old baby. His childhood friend, Ibrahim Oluwatosin Owoduni Prime Boy, and Mohbad's personal assistant, Adeyemo Boluwatife, alias Darosa, all of whom were in the Prado Jeep, which was hired by Mohbad for the event and driven by Felix Esambo. Others that accompany Mohbad in separate vehicles include Ayobami Sadiq, Spending, Aduragbemi Shedrack Aloba, who is the younger brother of Mohbad, Adisegiri Sultan Ayobami, Mohbad's DJ, Aderinto Fawaz Ademola Adewest, Mohbad's friend, and Olanrewaju Idris Adedoja, alias OG, his photographer. Other musical acts that performed along with Mohbad at the show included Zlatan, Shehu Kuti, and DJ Fokati. At the end of his performance at about 23:00 hours, as he made to exit the venue with his entourage, he discovered that his vehicle had been blocked by other vehicles, while some of his fans and area boys also moved in. Mohbad, who from witnesses' evidence was said to be tipsy and hyperactive, became infuriated, and as he attempted to come down to clear the road, Ibrahim, his friend, prevailed on him not to do so for his personal safety. This further infuriated Mohbad, and it eventually degenerated into a hot argument between the two of them and physical fights. In the course of an attempt by Mohbad to hit Ibrahim with a blow, Mohbad missed him and smashed his hand against the window of their Prado Jeep, causing him an injury on his forehand, and he bled profusely. Eventually, the situation was brought under control, and they all departed for the Lekki residence of Mohbad, excluding Ibrahim. Upon arrival at home at about 0200 hours of 11 September 2023, Mohbad refused to go to the hospital to treat his injury, despite persistent persuasion by his wife, staffs, and friends, including the Prado Jeep driver, whose vehicle was damaged. Later in the day, the injured hand, which was still bleeding on the second day, started getting swollen, causing Mohbad unbearable pains. Is the injury? You may also pass it on. How it got swollen by the second day. So at this point, his friend Ayobami Sadiq Spending, who noticed the increasing pains, further insisted that he must go to the hospital for treatment. Mohbad still resisted and opted to call his personal nurse, identified as Nurse Fumi, who unfortunately was not available. At this point, Ayobami Sadiq Spending offered to call his own nurse to attend to Mohbad. That nurse turned out to be the auxiliary nurse, Ms. Feisayo Ogedengbe, a suggestion that Mohbad consented to. When Ms. Feisayo was contacted at about 14:30 hours on Monday, 11 September 2023, she was unavailable but promised to come the following day, being Tuesday, 12 September 2023. Ahead of her arrival, she requested that a picture of the swollen hand stroke injury area be videoed and snapped and sent to her for assessment to guide on the medication to come along with. This was eventually done. At about 14:35 hours on 12 September 2023, Ms. Feisayo eventually arrived armed with one pack of cetrazone injection, one vial paracetamol injection, tetanus toxoid injection, one vial procaine penicillin injection, 7 ampoules of IM diclofenac, tincture iodine, several needles and syringes. Ms. Feisayo administered the tetanus toxoid on the arm of Mohbad and gave both the paracetamol and cetrazone injection intravenously. Immediately, the cetrazone injection was administered. Ms. Feisayo confirmed that Mohbad started vomiting, while goose pimples appeared on his face and all over his body. At this point, it dawned on Ms. Feisayo that Mohbad was reacting to the administered medications. She consequently ran out to procure hydro and nizafene infusion. While at the pharmacy in the locality, she got a call that Mohbad had started convulsing. Eventually, Cynthia Omoduni Adebanjo, Adura Agbemi Shedrack Aloba, Olanrewaju Idris Adedoja, Ayinde Habib Ido Daramola, Aderinto Fawaz, and Ms. Feisayo rushed him to the hospital in the vehicle of Engineer Chinaka Jesse, their neighbor. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead on arrival at Kurabed Hospital.